Hello and welcome back to the Peach State Prime Transformers channel. I'm Warren, and today we're taking a look at a very recent release. Actually just got it today in the mail, and that is Studio Series Prowl. Now, this isn't just Studio Series Prowl. This is Target Exclusive, Transformers the Movie, More Than Meets the Eye Collection, Studio Series Prowl. So the very recent Target Exclusive Prowl, my first Prowl using this mold, and so we're going to be taking a look at not only, what makes it special for this release, but actually diving into the mold itself. So hope you'll join me as, again, we take a look at this version of Studio Series Transformers the Movie 1986 Prowl. Alright, so Studio Series Prowl. Now, I'm going to be honest, as I said at the beginning, I don't have the other releases of the Studio Series Prowl mold to do a full comparison of them. I do have plenty of comparisons to other Prowl toys, but we're just taking this one as it is. Now, I do like this figure a lot, though it does have some issues in just the short time I've been messing with it. So there may be workarounds, but anyways, I know that, at least I believe, the first version of this had the transparent windows. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And of course, subsequent releases have had the, the opaque. And I believe this Prowl, again, if I'm not mistaken, was released in the Autobot cars. It was a 4 or 5 pack, kind of like with the previously released Target Exclusive Hound from this line, which I did not get. And I'm glad they released Prowl separately, because now I get to add him to my collection. And I'll show you why I'm so glad to have him here in just a minute. Anyways, as far as the colors, I think the colors are dead on. You have, of course, the nice bright white for most of Prowl's body here. You have the nice red for his visor, which some other releases, and I'll show them here in just a minute, that hasn't always been the case. The windows are just nice bright blue, as are the headlights, which, I like from an animation accurate standpoint. Take a look at his back. He doesn't have too much kibble. You have his light bar, which you do have to push on. It's separate when you get it in the box. You just have to, snap it in place. I do have a little bit of hollowness here in the back of his feet, which, yeah, would have been nice if there was something to fill that in, but I don't know where you'd put that in alt mode. He does come with his rifle, which is the same color white as his main body. And that sculpt on his face is really dead on. I really like that, especially with the blue eyes. No, there's no light piping, but I don't know. Sometimes light piping can take away from a figure with the back of the head being all clear. Sometimes it adds to it. Just really depends on the figure. I do think he's very poseable. Several points of articulation here. Even in his, he could tilt his feet out, and he has some ankle rocker action going on here. You can see how I have him standing. As far as issues, and we'll go into the alt mode in just a little bit, but, as far as the robot mode, the only issue I really have is, you'll probably see his head kind of sits down in kind of this hole, and I think it looks fine. The problem is you need to snap this little piece, get it to focus here. There's a little, you can see a little place where this should clip into place, and it'll do it, but then sometimes it'll jump back up, and like if I move his arm the wrong way or something, you kind of have, and again, you gotta watch what you're doing, but it will kind of sneak up on you and just kind of creep up and cover his face. So that's really the main issue I have with the figure overall. I wish that would snap more into place like it was in the package, but once I transformed him into police car mode and back, that does not want to stay down. And I don't know if the other releases, you know, of this mold have that same issue or not. That's just one I've noticed. The other one, which I'm not really counting as an issue, as more as it being kind of a byproduct feature. His waist here is just held on with one little peg. So if you just slide him forward just a little bit, you can separate him, his torso from his legs. Kind of reminds me of the 2007 movie when Megatron ripped Jazz in half. So, you know, I'll take two. You know, it's like, yo, you want a piece of me? No, I'll take two. Anyways, and that just very simply snaps back into place. So no complaints there. When I was fiddling with trying to get this to stay into place, I accidentally broke him in half like that. So that's how I discovered it. But not a huge issue. One thing I did forget to mention, I mentioned you had to plug in the light bar in the back here. You do, and I'm glad that in the instructions, all they show is just leaving it there. I know some other, like, emergency vehicle transformers, that is, they'll show it as, like, an alternate, oh, you can put it, you know, in their hand as a weapon, and I always think that's really dumb. So I'm glad they're not trying to pass that off as a secondary weapon for Prowl here. See if I can get him to stay still. That's the other thing. His feet are a little fiddly as far as trying to get him to stand and pose well. Okay, we'll go with that. So I do want to show a couple comparisons before we dive into vehicle mode, that is. And, you know, first we're going to start off. I have three other kind of main Prowls that are supposed to represent G1 Prowl. And the first one of those is G1 Prowl. Now, my G1 Prowl, full transparency, is missing his roof. He's seen better days, but he doesn't look too bad in bot mode. So you'll see in, you know, the latest version here, the Studio Series. And I know it's a version of the Studio Series mold, but I'm just going to say Studio Series to save time here. Anyways, you know, this is always going to be your classic G1 figure. You know, he has a lot of stickers and decals going on. But, you know, this Prowl looks like just like he did in the cartoon. But, you know, G1 Prowl, again, will always be G1 Prowl. Just always a little... There. Raise him up. Okay, that looks better. Just realized. Needed to extend his legs. Honestly, we're going to look at these two other Prowls. I kind of like the G1 Prowl better than the other two, just because it does have that classic look about him. But, you know, you can see that new Prowl here, Studio Series, is a bit taller. And I won't even say it's more detailed. It's more clean looking, like it is, you know, in the show and, of course, the movie. Of course, in the movie, Prowl is famous for dying. I don't even think he says anything. You know, and, of course, you know, Studio Series, as we all know, with the reveal of the Decepticon Seeker Storm multi-pack that's gone up for made to order, Studio Series is going to encompass all Transformers media, video games, cartoons, movies, I'm sure things you think of in your imagination. No, but seriously, they are going into all the media now, including the original 84 series, and doing Studio Series based on that. So Prowl definitely now earns his spot, whereas, you know, before with the Studio Series, you know, it's almost as much as Wheeljack deserves a spot. Just famous for being there and you know, being blown away. But anyways, that's enough of that. Let's show the next one. This was the next Prowl I added to my collection. And for those that don't know what this figure is, this is Alternators Prowl. So, look, I like how it looks here. You know, it has a very, you know, a very detailed look. You know, you can see maybe this is a little yellowed, or it might just be the lighting. It's the lighting. I turn it and it's whiter. But the problem I have with this one is, number one, it's completely out of scale as a standalone figure, but, you know, it's in scale with all the other alternators. You know, the chest is a bit different than, you know, what we have on the Studio series here. And just like with Masterpiece, the reason I got out of Masterpiece, and frankly, alternators are like Masterpiece Junior, you might as well say. You look at them wrong, something falls out of their hands, or something snaps off of them, and they're a pain in the rear to transform. So, you know, I do have that to say about alternators. There's a little dust there. But it looks good, you know, in this robot mode, and you compare it to our new Prowl here. It's not, you know, they kind of complement each other a little bit. If you look at that visor or that crest, it's a little bit more orange on Alternators Prowl, which, again, I really like that rich red on the Studio series. And so, you know, again, this one was kind of an outlier. The last Prowl was actually the last one I got, and it was feels like a long time ago. And that is Generations Prowl. Now, this Generations Prowl is the one that I've had on my shelf standing in as, you know, my definitive Prowl with all my other Generations figures / Studio Series figures. And, you know, I saw they were releasing this one individually, the Studio Series, and I said, you know what? It's time for an upgrade, because, you know, when this Prowl came out in Generations, you know, we're talking early Generations, you know, it did a fine job being Prowl, but this one's so much better, even though his head keeps hiding. Again, that's my one big gripe about this figure. And then, you know, even how the head is, you know, the head sculpt on the Studio series is so much better. And the crest on this Generations one really is more like a neon orange. Almost the same with the Autobot logo there versus the Studio series. So I'm very glad to finally have upgraded. Again, if you guys have a fix for this issue with the chest staying down, please leave a comment in the comment section, because this is getting rather annoying. I mean, when it stays, it's good, but when it doesn't, it's like, you know, why is he tucking his head in his shirt? And then anyways, you know, and again, I like the regular old blaster with the Studio series where, you know, you get, you know, this thing is supposed to transform and go underneath the vehicle mode, and I don't know, kind of cumbersome. And again, I find the Studio series just a nice, clean transformation as well. I don't think it's overly complicated, but just complicated enough to be satisfying. Whereas, you know, I don't even know where to begin with necessarily this Prowl here. You know, it's been a good figure. Still going to hold on to it, but this one really represents Prowl just so much better to me, again, despite that one issue. Alright, and I guess one thing to be fair, I forgot about the Generations figure having this feature where he can represent or replicate what the original toy had, or some of the concept art where you have the missiles that, or the lasers that pop up on either side of his head. I don't think any other Prowl toy, save for some of the accessories that came with the original, had that feature. And again, I'm talking about official Prowl releases, no third party. So that is one thing this one has, which, you know, does make it unique. But again, I like, you know, the show accuracy of the Studio series, and I still do consider this one an upgrade from this figure. Alright, here we have Studio Series Prowl in his car mode, his police car mode to be precise, and I think this really shines in this mode here. I mean, he looked good in robot mode, despite the head hiding issue. But this is just nice and sleek. You have that nice, you know, kind of long front there, like you'd have in the G1 show and the G1 toy. Again, with some modern, updated aesthetics and tooling there, and the colors really pop, especially the bright white. I love the little Autobot police shields that he has on either door. You know, one thing, you know, one critique, and I believe this is just how this is designed. You can see some gappiness right here where the feet are folded up on the rear wheel wells or fenders, whatever you want to call them. And it looks like they should snap more into place, but, you know, it's still relatively clean. You know, I like it. You know, you do have, of course, the light bar, which just stays into place. Again, I gave them praise for that. You can put the gun, you know, here for the vehicle mode, which doesn't look too bad. When it's on his back, I forgot to show this in robot mode, he has these little pegs on his weapon on either side, and you can put it on sideways for weapon storage. So, you know, pretty cool. Or, you know, if you want to do the sideways gun thing, you know, in vehicle mode, go for it. As far as it rolling, it is a Transformer. It does not roll too well, I'll be honest. You know, he kind of, you know, the wheels turn a little bit, but he's skidding across this table surface. Underneath, it's pretty clean. The head's there, but you don't see the face, which, you know, I hate when you can see the face on a transforming robot in their alternate mode. And I just popped the door open. As far as a comparison, so I know you know, kind of spoke ill of my transforming skills when it came to that Generations Prowl, but I did it for the most part, minus this gappiness here. So we'll look at it from this side. You see that original didn't have a terrible looking alt mode, but it really just didn't scream. I mean, yeah, it's a police car. It's an Autobot police car. You know, maybe closer to Streetwise from the Protectobots, but this is Prowl. I mean, no question about it. I mean, you know, you say Autobot police car, you think Prowl. So, yeah, this worked for that time being. But this one, I don't know, I just like this so much better. Again, issues aside, I think it makes for a better Prowl. Not that this one's a bad toy. Again, transformation wasn't as bad as I thought, especially compared to other toys of that era. But, you know, again, this is just unmistakably Prowl. Beyond just being a police car, it, you know, what is it, a Dachshund, I think is what it's called, or Dachshund. I'm not a car guy, but, you know, just really does a good job there. You know, turn them around even. You know, both do have, you know, exhaust, but I just think this one looks so much cooler. But again, it's up to you. My biggest thing was I wanted an upgrade from this figure, and I believe I got that upgrade with this one. But let's get this guy back in the robot mode and get a few final thoughts on him. All right, everyone. Guess what? I lied. I made a goof. I said that this was the first version of this mold that I had, and I'm wrong. It is not the first version of this mold I have, because I picked up way back in the Target Exclusive Buzzworthy Bumblebee line, Bluestreak or Silver Streak, whatever you call them, Bluestreak. And what I recalled was, you know, I mentioned, oh yeah, one of the Dachshund Transformers, or the car, and then I realized, wait a minute, there were other ones that shared that same molding, and of course, yeah, I had the Blue Streak. So, bonus comparison time. Bonus comparison time. So, 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 bonus comparison time. you know, you can see they both really used the mold really well. I think they look great together. That's another reason that this is an upgrade. Because, you know, you kind of want them to go together. It's not really like a Sideswipe and Sunstreaker thing where, you know, they're both Lamborghinis but different molds originally. Whereas these two use the same Datsun, you know, car body in the same mold. And I think that's really cool. Now, the one thing that Bluestreak did have, which actually, thinking about it, really would have made sense to include with Prowl, were these extra side blasters that you could peg into these little holes here. And you could do it in robot mode too. And I'm going to show that as a bonus comparison here in just a minute to where you do have the blasters. And let's see how they look on Prowl. Because, you know, let's face it, they probably would have been white anyways if they came with Prowl. Come on now. And, you know, not too bad. You know, that works for Prowl or Bluestreak. Again, it just would have been nice if they would have also included that accessory for Prowl. And I don't know if any of the other Studio Series did. You know, you guys can share that in the comments if they did, but I don't think so. And yeah, so I mean, they can, you know, kind of share these guns back and forth. But, you know, like I said, I do want to give some final thoughts on Prowl, so we're going to get him back in robot mode, and, you know, we're going to take a look at Bluestreak alongside him as well, since they do share the engineering. And see, you see on Bluestreak here, he does have the clear windshield, where Prowl does not now in this particular release of Prowl, as well as the headlights. And, you know, I like it either way. Yeah, it's more animation accurate with the opaque, and some people are scared of clear plastic. I think it looks good just depending on which figure. Prowl, I think I like the opaque on. Bluestreak works well with the clear, and it makes them more unique, you know, even though they are the same mold. And yeah, I could take the light bar off and put that on Bluestreak, but that would just be silly. Alright, here's Bluestreak with Prowl. And again, mold buddies. I don't have the smoke screen. I believe they did a smoke screen using this mold as well, now that I think about it. You know, I expect to see another release of that at some point soon, especially with Studio Series going the route it is, as I talked about earlier. They look great together, but they also look different enough from each other. You know, not, you know, due in part to their paint jobs. You see actually the front end is a little different on Bluestreak here. You have this extra kind of bumper and grill where you don't have that on Prowl. So I like that. Of course, you got the shoulder cannons here on Bluestreak. Again, I think they both look great. I'm very happy with getting Prowl. You know, again, I don't have the other versions of Studio Series Prowl to compare him to, nor did I pick up, I believe there was a Siege Prowl. You know, it's hard to keep them straight anymore with how many they've released and re-released and retooled and exclusive this, exclusive that. So I'll have to look it up on TF Wiki, but again, this is my first go around with the Studio Series Prowl, and the second with this actual, I guess, technical molding. And I gotta say, Prowl looks really good with those shoulder cannons as well. Hasbro, why didn't you put those in here? I mean, you gave him a light bar. That's the only thing extra he has that Bluestreak doesn't. Does that cost that much? I mean, I don't know. But it was that close. That close to being so definitive. I don't know if the other versions of Prowl came with the shoulder cannons. I don't think they did. I mean, yes, it makes Silver Streak a little bit more, you know, individual. But look how cool Prowl looks with those shoulder cannons. And, Bluestreak, Silver Streak, whatever you want to call him, looks kind of naked without him now. But, oh, man. I mean, I even would have paid, a couple bucks more for Prowl if he had those shoulder cannons. I mean, again, I think he looks good without them, too. But that just adds so much. And he has the ports for them. And, I mean, they were existing tooling or existing molding. Oh, I don't know if a third-party company can pull that off or not, but I think it adds just that much more. Well, okay. So let's move into some final thoughts. Number one, Hasbro should have included those shoulder cannons. Number two, there's that little bit of an issue. It seems to be staying now. Maybe I did something wrong when I transformed him earlier that was rubbing apart there, because I don't have that issue with Silver Streak either. But, as far as the release that it is, I think this is the best Prowl that I own. Again, even better than an Alternators release. And the classics. And, of course, G1 is what it is, but I think this is nice and clean. Represents the character. Not a bad transformation. You get a couple hiccups here and there. But I don't think you could go wrong with this figure if you don't have a Prowl in your collection or want to upgrade from one that you already have. If you have another version of Studio Series Prowl already, I don't really think that's going to be necessary to get this release, even if you do have the clear windows versus the opaque. I'm happy with the opaque, though let's be honest, I also would have been fine with the clear. I'm not that nitpicky on them. Again, I can't wait till I can get my hands on Smokescreen, the inevitable release of him once again, or re-release. Because, again, I love him to go with my my Bluestreak and Prowl here. But, yeah, I mean, I give this high marks. I just, again, this waste issue seems to fix itself over the course of the video, at least for now, when I put them on my shelf. But again, Hasbro, why didn't we get the shoulder cannons? That would have been so good. And I mean, this guy was a Target exclusive too. I mean, was it the light bar? I mean, is that the only extra thing? I mean, we painted the windows. I would have thought the clear plastic parts here would have cost a little bit more. So could that savings have gone, to have the shoulder cannons? I don't know, but I do think that's a little bit of a miss there. But otherwise, I'm very happy with it, and I recommend it. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. Not only a review today of, again, Transformers Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye collection, Transformers the movie 1986, Target Exclusive Prowl. So many different titles you can give this one. But it wasn't only a review, like I was starting to say. It was actually a little bit of discovery as I was making the video. Yes, I knew I had the Bluestreak, or Silver Streak, but just didn't dawn on me, because again, I just got this less than an hour before making the video, and just realized, oh yeah, I already have one of the Dotson brothers. As far as alt modes are concerned, kind of the, I don't want to say the Autobot Seeker, but that same kind of generalization you can make about them. But then, I really love this figure. I really do. Then I got a little sad about the shoulder cannons. I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. Prowl had that on his Classics version. And then I saw... Well, that was interesting. So I got this new phone holder / ring light. You could probably see the glare. My glasses. Those aren't sunglasses. And I like the light it's throwing off. I like how it's holding my phone. But my phone decided to take a tumble out of the phone holder. So hopefully, that woke you up if I was putting you to sleep. Anyways, yeah, I saw the Classics Prowl had those shoulder cannons. And it's like, oh, yeah. And then I saw Silver Streak / Bluestreak had them. And I was like, yeah, there are these sports here. So, again, I'm a little sad about that. again, you know, the chest staying down, you know, yeah, but it's behaving now. So hopefully that was just something I did wrong. But again, I still give high marks to this figure. It's just those two little blasters, Hasbro, would have made this just that much more better. Just better of a release. Again, I really don't think you can go wrong with picking him up. Anyways, love to hear your thoughts on any of the Prowl or Dotson Studio Series figure releases. You know, you could put that in the comments here, or, you know, what's your favorite release? I know a lot of people are going crazy over that Starscream right now that came out as part of this Target exclusive line. I have not picked him up as of yet. Not sure if I'm going to, because I do like my Earthrise Starscream a lot. And then there was also the Insecticon 3-pack, which I already have all 3 Insecticons. Paint apps are a little different. You get the Energon cubes. But I think I'm happy with mine. I just realized, I mean, you get the Energon cubes. They could pack that in with those 3 deluxes, but not these 2 little guns in this clear, not clear, but just solid white plastic. I don't know. I don't work for Hasbro. I don't understand it all. Anyways, you know, what do you think of this this wave of Target exclusive figures, if you have nothing to say about Prowl? Of course, subscribe to the Peach State Prime Transformers channel for more content like this, whether it be reviews, discussing new releases, and stuff that comes up in the news. You know, try to have a good time here. And, of course, you know, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like here on YouTube. That helps me out a lot. And, of course, you can check out peachstateprime.com to learn more about me and my YouTube efforts. Anyways, I do want to thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you have a great day, and God bless.